Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Eye to Eye Live. It's our weekly Monday chat where we get together and talk about Disney things. Lately on Mondays, we've been talking about Walt Disney World news items. And boy, howdy, are there a lot of Disney news items to be discussing lately with everything opening up from COVID-19. And so far, things seem to be going okay in that realm. So we're going to continue to approach this with optimism and all that good stuff. But we're going to talk about some of the things that are changing that we're learning about how Walt Disney World is going to implement some of those changes. And I'm pleased tonight to once again have a special guest with me. If you were here last week, you knew him. And that is my good friend, Connor Brown from WDW Opinion. He is back to talk some Walt Disney World with me. Welcome, Connor.
Thank you again for having me, Kyle. Round two. Let's do it.
See, you're a glutton for punishment because somehow you said yes to coming back.
I did. Yeah, I do. I do like torturing myself. So I think this will be good. And of course, talking about our favorite place that isn't open, that's just even more punishment. But, I like how you started out the show, Kyle, when you said a lot to be optimistic about, because I do think with each coming week, the light at the end of the tunnel only gets closer and closer and closer with each announcement that we get.
I think that's the best way to approach this thing because, this whole disease has affected everybody, on different levels, but obviously it's all affected us somewhat negatively in some aspect, whether you dealt with it personally or just the after effects of it. And I think now we could use a little bit of positive optimism, and that's what we try to maintain here. But we're also going to talk about some of the realities of what you might be expecting at Walt Disney World. Before we get into that, I want to say hello to a couple of people who are already in the chat window, Captain Akron 27 and Jacob Cacho. Jacob, we haven't seen you in a while, my man. Good to see you. I know you've been busy with work, and I can attest to that craziness. Just with schedules moving around and everything. Avery, the Cuban American, is also here. Nice to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. A lot of our trivia night regulars are popping in. As you're coming in, please do make sure you smash that like button and share it out on social media if you feel led to do so as well. So anything's on the table tonight, Connor. We can discuss it. Anything that the viewers want us to prompt us to discuss is up on the table. But I thought I would start us out with the topic of the new additional information that just came out from Walt Disney World. And a lot of it's fine print, not even fine print, just some, additional type of notes to consider. A lot of it is, you'll need confirm this, confirm that. Some resort information has opened up about what resorts are actually going to be available starting on June 22nd. And I want to get into that too. But what's your overall take of the new information that came out for Walt Disney World?
I think it's just piece by piece. We often talk about how big Disney World is, how massive it is. It's twice the size of the island of Manhattan. So a lot of the times we forget oh yeah, I guess they do have to take into consideration, how are they going to do valet parking? How are they going to do bell services? What restaurants are going to be open at all these resorts that come into play? But for me, it's really, how Disney is structuring the opening of the resort hotels themselves as well. The big announcement was, of course, July 11th, we got Magic Kingdom, we got Animal Kingdom. July 15th, we got Epcot, we got Hollywood Studios opening. But the kind of secondary announcement they said was DVC resorts and Fort Wilderness Cabin and Campgrounds. That resorts, they were going to open up, at the end of this month, June 22nd. But now as those dates are getting closer, we're kind of learning about which resorts are opening, what facilities are going to be open there, with dining experiences. So that's what's kind of piquing my interest lately.
So here's what I got really excited about is I really had convinced myself for some reason that dining like options in terms of sit down were not going to be an option. And the fact that they've actually already set us up for that to maybe start some of those up again, that to me is the biggest encouragement. So I'm super excited to talk about obviously the resorts that have opening dates now. But for me, the fact that they found a way to make the dining option work, to me, that we talked a lot about last week about, is it the right time for you to go at Disney because you might be missing out on some of these experiences. And for me, I don't know about everybody else, I like to sit down at a Disney restaurant every once in a while, at least while I'm there. And so that to me pluses your time if you are going to be going during this first initial opening there. So that to me was the biggest dining option. I think you obviously enjoy a good dining location as well.
I like to eat, I'm not going to lie. There's a reason I'm not standing up right now because it's not a flattering image. Okay.
Yes.
COVID-19. Yeah. What did they say? The COVID-19, you add on 19 extra
Uh,
numbers during this thing. It's true. It's true. But, another part about that is the fact that those reservations, right? That dining reservations that you can get at resorts,
mhm.
that means that day guests can now come in to those
Yeah.
resorts as well. So
Yeah.
for me, I love resort hopping. I love exploring, different resorts that I'm not staying at. Sometimes I'll take an entire day out of my vacation just to go around the monorail resorts or what have you
Yeah.
with sit down dining reservations opening up for select restaurants at those resort hotels. It's allowing day guests to, you have to have a dining reservation in order to get there, but once you have that dining reservation acquired, then you're able to putz around those resorts as well.
Gotcha. Leonard's also popped in here. If we haven't said hello to him yet, but he has a question. Do we know when we can remake our dining reservations? I'm guessing he's referring to the ones that were canceled because of obviously it not being open. Do you have a take on that, Connor?
It's a great question from Leonard, and that's one that we're still just waiting to hear because, Disney initially canceled all of those sit-down dining reservations in addition to canceling things like FastPass Plus and even Disney dining plans. We're still waiting to hear when you're going to be able to rebook those dining reservations because Disney has come out and said, the people that we canceled, they're going to get, a first stab at those reservations, but it's just going to be, time will tell. And I think Leonard said he has a September trip coming up.
Yep.
So, you're going to know with plenty of time when you can rebook those dining reservations. I think the first domino that's going to fall is when are the people, when the resorts are opening up June 22nd and then July for the theme parks. When are those people who had dining reservations on those dates? When are they going to be able to start rebooking?
Yeah, there's a big waterfall that is happening here with the closure things. They're trying to honor things that might have already gotten affected, reservations. So I don't envy, I was about to say Bob Chapek, but who's actually in charge of what now is kind of up in the air at Disney these days. Josh D'Amaro has moved on to actually doing all Disney parks, and I'm blanking on, unfortunately, the people that have moved in position at Walt Disney World. I do not envy them having to make these decisions in the least. It is challenging to try to, figure out how that you can make all this work, how you can make the most people happy with this complicated situation that we have. And also it's challenging to figure out what Disney resorts to open when. And so that's what I want to talk about here. June 22nd, I'll read off the list real quickly for everybody. Bay Lake Tower, Boulder Ridge Villas, Copper Creek Villas, Disney Animal Kingdom Villas, Beach Club Villas, Boardwalk Villas, Old Key West Resort, Polynesian Villas and Bungalows, Riviera Resort, Saratoga Springs, and the villas at the Grand Floridian. Wow, I can't talk tonight. Grand Floridian. I hear a lot of villas in that, Connor. What does that tell you?
Yeah, so I was just actually looking up the new president. His name is Jeff Valehi, V-A-H-L-E.
Thank
We're
you.
going to learn his name very soon, I would say. We're going to get very familiar with it in the coming weeks. So this makes perfect sense, opening the Disney Vacation Club resorts first, because DVC members, those are, people who have bought a piece of Disney World in the grand scheme of things, right?
Right.
These are Disney's bread and butter. These are the people that are, taking a bullet for Disney. They'll probably take a lot more for the Disney. These are the people that are coming back time and time again, and not even a pandemic could keep them out. Makes perfect sense for Disney not only to open up these resorts, because a lot of them are self-contained and they're still small. When we look at something like the Caribbean beach resorts, that has almost 2,000 rooms. But then you look at something like Saratoga Springs. Saratoga Springs seems like a much bigger resort, but it only has around 1,200 rooms, villas and stuff like that. So even the biggest ones still aren't as big as those moderate level ones. Some of the value ones, all the All-Stars have so many rooms. So it's much more centrally contained for them to, work through that and stuff. But then also, these are the people that are going to come regardless. And on top of that, it's kind of a way for Disney to throw them a bone as well. Disney knows these people are itching to get down there. My family, we're Disney Vacation Club members. Of course, we're itching to get down there. So it's a nice, way for them to basically say, hey, come on down. And then also Disney Vacation Club members. They're the only people right now who can start making new hotel reservations at those resorts.
So yeah, I did notice that because I think we talked about this last week. I am in a position where we are potentially going to have to move we've already moved our trip twice just to kind of accommodate for everything that's changed in everybody's lives, schedules, weddings, all that kind of stuff. We're now considering moving it again. And I found that you can't make just to say, for instance, a early December reservation right now. They're not available just because they're trying to wait and see how this plays out, how the virus plays out, and all that good stuff there. So, yeah, it makes sense. Like you said, throw the people that are giving you money already, DVC people. You DVC people. One day I'm going to be a DVC member. I'm determined of it. When I win the lottery, I will just immediately buy stake in the Polynesian villas and bungalows. I'm determined to stay there.
Okay. I like it. I've always wanted to stay at the Poly too. That's one of the very, very few remaining on my list of hotels to stay at. I would love that. We've talked about on my podcast before, the perks of Disney Vacation Club. Obviously, we did not discuss the perks that you get during a pandemic, but I guess we can add that there. Kyle, you should check that episode out because we do talk about resale market as well, which is an affordable way to become a Vacation Club member.
I remember I did listen to that episode, and I did, obviously I always want to learn more about DVC, and that was a good insight for you and your family to share that. But the resale part obviously was the part that I perked up on because I was like, oh, that's my in.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But let's also, remember there's one other resort that Disney has opened or that they are opening in the end of June, and that's the Fort Wilderness Cabins and Campgrounds. Kyle, if there was a centrally planned resort that measures up to the social distancing guidelines, this is the prototypical resort that they would build. Not only do you have your own house in a cabin, but it's like 40 feet away from the next house, right? Social distancing is perfect for this sort of resort.
And I have actually taken 2 solo camp trips and camped at Fort Wilderness by myself.
God bless you, man. 1 year. I mean, that's crazy. All right. I am not a camper. I'm not outdoorsy. I'm indoorsy. But I will say your trips down there, especially your solo trips, they're really cool. And I bet that's just something so unique about, at one second you can be in Walt Disney World, you can be riding, Big Thunder Mountain, and then you're camping in the wilderness. You go on the wildest ride in the wilderness, and then you camp in the wilderness. That's pretty cool.
I'll call it glamping, not camping, but it's still, I'm out there with the mosquitoes. I'm out there with, everybody else and screaming kids and all. So I will say this, it is both times I had immaculate experiences. There was never, it was not unclean like it was, anytime, you had people kind of being a little loud, they usually knocked it off, a little bit. So if you have not camped at Fort Wilderness before, I highly recommend it. Maybe not by yourself. Maybe you're not as adventurous as me, but social distancing wise, even the campsites, not maybe 40 feet apart from each other, but I would say a good 15 to 20 in terms of the where one technical site starts to the other. You usually got some trees separating you. I guess the main concern there for social distancing purposes, it just amounts to cleaning for Disney, would be the comfort stations where you can go in, shower, you can go, obviously sinks to brush your teeth, all that kind of stuff. So that's some highly needed cleaning areas, but you're right. It's like Walt Disney knew, hey, we're going to have some situation like this. Let's figure out how to make one that's completely spread out. And this is the perfect one. So maybe if you're looking for a way to get to Walt Disney World in this early part of this, and you want something really affordable, look for the campsites. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and once those reservations start reopening, and once people are able to start exploring the resorts as well, when they don't need to be limited to a dining reservation, I tell everyone, if you're, have a day where you don't really know what you want to do, go and explore Fort Wilderness. There's so much cool things to see and do. The Tri-Circle D Ranch is there with all those horses. You can do horseback riding. You can do other activities. It's just such a cool resort to explore.
Oh, it's so awesome. I highly recommend. I highly recommend everything, obviously, but I've had some really cool experiences there. Let's pop in here to the chat window. We got a couple of people saying hello. Tori is here. Nice to see you, Tori. Another trivia regular. Leonard said he was a member at Copper Creek. That's
Lucky
also
man.
no, man. He says he moved his trip from June to September. Still going to be pretty hot there, though, Leonard, even in September.
Yeah.
There are still memberships at the Poly. And then Leonard also wants to know, Connor, for you, what's your channel name? So why don't you do that real quick? Go ahead and plug everybody that's here, and we'll say hello to a couple other people in a second.
Yeah, absolutely. So everything I do is you can search for it, WDW Opinion. You can search for that on YouTube. But if you do go to WDWopinion.com, you can check out the blog. And of course, you can check out the podcast as well. We got a lot of great content over there. So just head over to the website, WDWopinion.com.
And for all that stuff, guys, in the description below, I have his link to his website and his YouTube channel. So please go on over there and check all that stuff out. I highly recommend both because he's doing unique things on both his channel and his podcast. Highly, highly recommend the podcast.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, you're welcome. Allie Rose is also here. She says, we own a different timeshare, but we've always been interested in DVC. I hear a lot of people that are interested in DVC, but just, I guess, couldn't get over the money thing of it. And so went with something a little different. Remind me, what's some of the other like ones in the Disney area that you can get?
I mean, right next to college, I was a college programmer, so I worked in Walt Disney World. I worked on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and I worked front desk at the Yacht and Beach Club Resort. Next to one of the apartments that I lived in I think it was called the Marriott World Village. So Marriott is a huge timeshare, I'll say conglomerate. They have a lot of different options there. RCI has a lot, and there's actually a partnership with DVC. There's so many different options, especially in the Central Florida area. But I will say, Allie brings it up a good point, saying we went with a different timeshare. When I've discussed DVC before, describing it as a timeshare is the simplest thing to do, right? Especially to your friends who don't understand why you're Disney crazy. You're like, you're a vacation club member. What does that mean? It's like a timeshare, but for Disney. They're like, all right, whatever. We know you're crazy. But it's also not the best comparison for it because, you do get more flexibility. You do get the opportunity to where you don't have a week every year, where you can go to other resorts, where you can shorten your stays and get different types of rooms as well. So Allie, the timeshare is out there as well. Orange Lake Resort under RCO got you. They're starting to get more flexible as well. So Disney is kind of leading that charge in the timeshare area.
Timeshares. Sometimes it's one of those words that kind of makes people go, but that's DVC has found a way to not make you go, They make you go, when they think about it. Orlando Mike, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for being here. He says he's already subbed to your channel, so that's awesome.
Orlando Mike, thank you.
Let's talk about this. These resorts have opened up, and these are the only ones that are going to initially open up to start. Connor, if you had to pick, which one are you going to?
It's tough. It's kind of what do you want to do? I guess right now, especially, it's in this kind of limbo stage, right? Where there's the parks aren't open. So you just be going to the resorts. For me, I'd probably pick Kidani Village just because it's my favorite resort. I think something that is unique right now is that the Disney Vacation Club at Kidani Village is opening, but the Vacation Club at Jambo House at the Animal Kingdom Lodge is not opening. I think that is a big resort, so there's a lot of different moving pieces. So because Kidani Village is also very large, it's got a good number of rooms. That makes sense in the grand scheme of things. But for me, it's, You can still get a bus to Disney Springs. It's a long drive, of course,
Mhm.
but during the day, they got a really cool pool there. You can see the animals. That's a place where I'm just always so relaxed. And of course, the top reason, Sanaa, baby. Gotta
I
get that
have not
Sanaa,
done
baby. Gotta
Sanaa
get
yet.
that, man. Come on.
Oh,
Unbelievable.
that bread service, I keep hearing things. Okay, so let me just say this. I had a reservation for Sanaa, but I also had never at the time been to Ohana. The day of us arriving at
That's enough.
on our trip,
I know where this is going, and I don't want you to tell the end of it. Okay. You've made a mistake. Okay.
No, I will eat Ohana every day and twice on Sunday, even if it literally makes me explode.
They're trying to do that, by the way. That's there. I will say Ohana, most polarizing restaurant at Walt Disney.
Really?
For sure.
Wow.
For sure. It is, and I think it's kind of in how it operates, right?
Yeah.
If you get, some meat, some shrimp, some chicken that is hot, hot, hot right in a row, it's fantastic. If you get some cold chicken, some cold steak, and a cold shrimp, it's disgusting for sure. So I think that because they're getting so many people in, boom, 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 there's opportunities to get either really good stuff or really good bad stuff. So I think that that's why it's polarizing. But it's either you love it or you're like, I don't need to go back there anytime soon.
Oh man, I don't know if it's I give off this vibe or something, but like they just give me all the good stuff. I don't know if they're looking at my stomach and then realizing, hey, this guy eats, so give him all the good things because he's going to enjoy it. And that's what I told Jessica last time, because I think we've been 3 times now, and each time for the big 3 meat portions of that, we said the first time the shrimp was best, the second time the steak was best, and this last time the chicken was just outstanding.
That's interesting.
And he literally, they said, yeah, he was giving you like all the good pieces because he saw my plate with the scraps of shrimp and stuff and knew, hey, this guy's putting it away. Let's load him up. Maybe so he'll stop eating at some point.
I will say the bread pudding, it's to die for. I love that bread pudding at the end of it too.
But the problem is you're so full by the end of it.
You gotta pace yourself, Kyle. Come on, man.
But
tell them no more. Start waving the towel when they're coming up with more chicken.
I have no self-control, right. Connor.
All right.
Ali Rose says Ohana is her favorite restaurant, and apparently we're making Captain Akron hungry. Yes, I had dinner, but now I'm hungrier, so I don't know what that
story
says
of my life, really.
All right, if you had to pick a second resort of the ones that are opening for June 22nd, which one would it be? You said Kidani Village first.
Kidani Village first. Next one, I am going to go with. Ooh, this is going to be tough. I'll pick the Wilderness Lodge. I think still, it's kind of secluded in a way for sure, but I just think it's very peaceful there. I don't want to pick, Poly, Grand Floridian, or Bay Lake Tower, because I think that's just going to be a tease, especially in this time where the Magic Kingdom is not open. The worst thing in the world is waking up to a view of Magic Kingdom, not being able to go into Magic Kingdom. So I think that that's going to be difficult. But I'm going to throw in a third option that is something that I absolutely love, and that's either Saratoga Springs or Old Key West. Very relaxing as well. We own at Saratoga Springs, but let me just say this. Boats are still going to be operating, and if you can get over to Disney Springs, that's just opens up a whole array of other cool restaurants, shopping, even with social distancing guidelines in place. That's just giving you more stuff to do.
Interesting. I have the opinion that I think Saratoga Springs is one of the more polarizing resorts in terms of the DVC ones. However, let me say this. I visited finally. I'd never been to Saratoga Springs, never stepped foot on it. In my last solo trip, I try to go spend quality time at each of these, as many as I can, to just continue to get familiar with it, take pictures, all that kind of stuff to use them for our channel. I spent the evening at Saratoga Springs, had one of the best meals at the quick service area that I've ever had at Disney. It was like some kind of
palate.
What was it? It was like pot roast.
Cheeseburger flatbread? Oh, no.
Okay. No. I thought about that, but they had a special. It was like a pot roast Thanksgiving dinner, and it was like summer. And I was like, yes, please. I'll have this now. But yeah, Saratoga Springs, I think it's the theming I don't think it resonates as well with some people, but I think that's a hidden gem over there personally. So I'm happy to hear that you're somebody that's bought into it and really likes it.
Yeah, it's a sprawling resort for sure. If you're in one area of that resort, it could take you a while to get back over to the carriage house, which is the main area that has Artist Palette, it has the main pool, stuff like that.
Right.
But, when we first started going, Saratoga Springs was like, okay, we can always get, room at Saratoga Springs. And I think that is the biggest pro for Disney Vacation Club members. And really for people who are looking for a room where they have 6 people or something that they need to go. You can almost always get a reservation at Saratoga Springs. But so we would just go because we could get stuff there. We could go there. And we started exploring other Disney Vacation Club resorts across property. And then one year we went back and all of a sudden we were like, wow, we absolutely love this place. Not because anything changed there, but because downtown Disney transformed right across the water into Disney Springs, and it became such a better destination than it was prior. So I think that just really enhances your vacation experience when you have something that's literally a stone's throw away from Saratoga Springs.
Yeah, and you can walk to it too. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it doing it on a full stomach like I did, but you got the boat, you can walk, you can literally hear and see the light. For me, sometimes I like to just look at the nightlife rather than I like to take part in it and go out and just be in the sounds and
sometimes
the magic.
It's just so exhausting.
It is.
And you can kick your feet up, you can look over the way and you're like, I'm happy that people over there are having fun.
It's like I'm living
over here.
I'm living vicariously through you without experiencing the hustle and bustle, so to speak.
Yes, yes, keep walking, dance. Yes, that's good. Yeah.
Well, with the little time we have left, I want to pose the question to those people watching right now of the list. I'll read it one more time that you have available to you on June 22nd. Which one would be your first choice? Obviously, we don't know the pricing and all that stuff for that right now, but Bay Lake Tower, Boulder Ridge, Copper Creek, Animal Kingdom, Kidani Village, Beach Club, Boardwalk Villas. Most of these are villas. Polynesian Villas and Bungalows, Old Key West, Riviera, Saratoga, and Grand Floridian Villas. Of those ones, which ones would you want to go to first, listeners? Connor, I do want to give you a second to plug the latest episode that you guys just put out. And again, it's a great continuation of the series we talked about last week, but share everybody what you're talking about this week.
Yeah, absolutely. So mentioned it a little bit last week, the latest series on the WDW Opinion Podcast. It's all about the Walt Disney World daily budgets. So the idea behind this is we have a certain dollar amount, and that dollar amount is what we're spending for the entire day. And it's got to cover our meals, it's got to cover our souvenirs, it's got to cover any tours or unique experiences we wanted to do. So our first one we did $100 a day. And we said, how are we spending $100 at Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and then Animal Kingdom? The next episode we did was $300. So from that, we were able to say, okay, we can get all these good food items, but hey, let's do an extra tour or something like this. And now this week's episode is $600 a day. This is where we are taking that stimulus check and we are just splurging, That's all we're doing. But the cool thing about this particular one is it's bucket list sort of things. We're eating at the best restaurants. We're going on the coolest tours and dining experiences you've probably never heard of before, but we're also getting some cool souvenirs as well. Can you say Sabi's lightsaber? Maybe we can do. I don't know. Get a little crazy. But if you want to learn more about that episode, you can go to wdwopinion.com/86, like 86, because it is episode number 86, or just search WDW Opinion wherever you listen to podcasts.
And again, if you guys have not, in the description below, I have the links to his website where you can get all that content, and as well his YouTube channel, which we've already had some people go check that out over there. A couple of answers from us asking the listeners where they would want to go first. Grand Floridian from Allie Rose. This is the one I like, Beach Club. I stayed at Beach Club for the first time. Was it last year or the year before? I think it was the year before, Connor. I love Polynesian, even though I've never stayed there before. I just love it. It mainly has to do with Aloha Isle, or excuse me, Pineapple Lanai. And I would literally take up residence in a chair for the entire week at Pineapple and I if they'll just keep the Dole Whips coming. I would. I'd stay there the entire time, look at the pool, look at the Magic Kingdom off in the distance, and I'd have a great time.
If you want to pay me to keep bringing you Dole Whips, I'll do it. You know, I got no problem with that.
It could be a pretty sweet gig. I'm an easy to please person because pretty much if it's got pineapple in it, bring it my way. But yeah, I love the Beach Club. So that's a great pick there, Captain Akron 27. All right. Well, I think our time is done for this week. As we said, check out all of Connor's stuff in the description below, his website and his YouTube channel that he has here and his latest episode, $600 at a Disney park. What would you do? It's like a Nickelodeon show. Why am I referencing Nickelodeon here? Anyway, Connor, thank you so much for being here again, buddy. And it's been fun talking about Walt Disney World with you.
Absolutely. With each passing day, we get a little bit closer to our favorite place opening, which I absolutely love. Thank you for having me on, Kyle.
Of course. And thank all of you for joining us tonight on I2I Live. And we'll be doing it again next Monday. So I hope you can join us. And Trivia Night this Thursday. Give you a hint, it might have something to do with a certain Disney Plus thing coming out. That might be a hint for what Trivia Night theme is going to be about this week. So don't miss that as well. Thank you all for joining us. And until we assemble again, may the force be with you, and we'll see you real soon.